Hello, welcome back to 340 Paddler. Today I want to talk about seats, because the 340 is one of those rare times, apart from possibly if you have norovirus, when your butt rules your life. So let's get started and look at some of the options that are out there. First, we have the squish pad. Now this is a gel-filled pad. There's a couple of gels in here. There's a little bit of foam around the outside. Gel pockets in the middle. This is something that Joe Zellner uses. Incidentally, to attach it, you can just tie it down. You don't have to Velcro it to the seat. And they work really well. One pad is good for me for probably about 3 to 4 hours. And then after that, usually I would need 2. But it is a good option. It'll cost about $30 at most of your local kayak retailers. Then in the same vein, we have the Yak Pad. The Yak Pad is like the squish pad, but this is one giant gel pad. And it's a really dense gel, so it doesn't move away from your sit bones. The problem is, it's a little more expensive. It's about $50 or $60 if memory serves. And it is heavier than the squish pads. So something to keep in mind. But it does work well. One other note, I used this for about 3 months on my ergometer, and I punctured it. And that was just normal use, so something to keep in mind. Then we have your foam pads. And by the way, if you kayak enough, you'll build up a collection like this too. On the more expensive side of the foam pads, which tells you what we're dealing with, we have this Moki pad. Now, Epic has one, etc. These are usually for surf skis. And this one's great because it's got the cutouts for the sit bones and a cutout for the tailbone, which is pretty effective. I just got this. I've used it for about a 3-hour paddle so far, and works great. My butt was in heaven, no soreness or any other problems. The advantage that the foam has, and to some extent the gel has, is it's going to become part of the boat. So when I move, the seat will move and the boat will move as one. A problem that we'll run into later on. And this costs $20. I got this from Ron Ladd Surf Ski down in Kansas City. So if you want one, he has them. As I said, Epic, I think Stellar has their own version as well. They all have them. It's about maybe 1/3 of an inch or so thick pad. Works beautifully. Now, a little bit cheaper option, but very, very effective, is Thermarest. And this is just one of those Thermarest pads which I went ahead and found on clearance somewhere and just cut up. And then I cut holes in it, both to entertain myself and so my sit bones had some place to sit. It does make it a lot more comfortable if you put some cutouts in it. And you can put a couple of layers of Thermarest together and form them to the seat. So it's pretty easy stuff to work with, and one pad will probably produce a lifetime worth of seats. So very cheap option, but very, very effective. If you have a canoe with a tractor seat, or maybe a surf ski or kayak, these would be great. Another option I wanted to bring up, I don't have one here in terms of foam, is the Bumfortable seat. These are those strange bucket seats, usually in yellow and black or gray and black, that you get from Gurney, and you can find them online. They're called Bumfortable. They cost about $150, but it is incredibly comfortable in a kayak. I put one in my QCC 700 when I had it. The year before, my butt was killing me during the race. That year, worked fine. Now, there's another type of pad that we see, which are the air pads. And there's the Rojo seat. This is a cheaper version. This is basically one of those sleeping pads, smaller version, that you can blow up or deflate. And this, in my experience, will make you a little more unstable. Either this or the Roja, which is a seat for wheelchairs. And the Rojo or Roja is about $150. $50. They aren't cheap. This one was about $20. But it is very comfortable. The reason it makes you unstable is when you're sitting on it, your butt is isolated from the boat by the air in between. So they can move in two different directions. And to give you an example of that, I didn't use this one in a race thus far, although I keep it just in case. But I've got this one, which is basically the same concept, different material. This is a gel pad. This is by Purple. This cost me $34. It's their Purple portable, I guess. And what we have is this gel matrix, soft gel matrix, that you go ahead and sit on. It is great to sit on. Very, very comfortable. The problem that I ran into, and I used this at South Dakota, and it didn't work, is I became unstable in my regular 18-foot surf ski. And the reason is, again, my butt was isolated from the boat. Those two B's need to be together. They need to move as one. That helps your stability. So while my butt was comfortable, it didn't make me very stable. This is also fairly heavy material. I think this weighs about 2-3 pounds. Now, if you have a really stable boat, it might be a great option for you. If you're in a surf ski, I probably wouldn't use it. And this is about the thinnest version that they have. If they have a thinner version, I will track it down. But just some options that are out there. During the event, during the race, I highly recommend you bring different pads. So bring the one that you always use, but have one or two extras. And it could be mini cell foam, it could be any number of materials. But as the race goes on, you may want to swap out pads just to try and keep your butt happy. Hopefully, this has been helpful for you. This is 340 Paddler. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, quarrels, qualms, quandaries, curse words, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, keep your paddle in the water.